Hey, welcome back to my next part, which is part number 5 of Kinetic's 48th scale EA-6B Prowler build. Now, disaster strikes in the cave. Had to strip the decals and repaint it. So you'll see in for a treat for this one. So once that's done, we'll take care of the wiring. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, I totally jinxed myself last episode because I ended it by saying I want to do a decal video. Done it a million times before, just slap the decals on and come back and do the weathering this week. Now, these decals are or were a nightmare. Now, I think it's micro scale by Cam. Now, I'm not sure it's necessarily decals. I mean, I think I might have bought these on eBay. So it might be a fact that, they've been stored incorrectly, non-temperature controlled environment or something, but they were just weren't good. I mean, the back ones here, I mean, they're on, and but they cracked all around it. They're very thick. It's like vinyl almost. They're oversized for this aircraft. They're about 10 to 20% too big. For example, the NF should be on the rudder here. It overspills onto the other part of the tail. Yeah, so it might be designed for the monogram kit, I'm thinking, rather than this one. But yeah, just not good at all. But put them down. They weren't bedding down. But I worked at it. This one all cracked away. I masked it up. I painted it yellow in between. You can see the error there, but from a distance it kind of looks okay. So I was literally put a couple of these down, and then I was on eBay trying to find more decals. I can't use the kit ones because it's a whole different scheme. So yeah, it's a nightmare. So in the end, I persevered, got them on, but I'm thinking they might just come right off when I put the wash on. So we'll see. If so, we might need to strip this whole thing and hopefully try to find more decals for the same paint scheme. If not, just repaint. Obviously, tail will have to be repainted. If not, rego and rego again with something completely different. But yeah, nightmare, as I said. So, oof. I'm going to go ahead and start weathering, and I think expecting the worst here, but we'll do a little area, and you know what? Let's just go big or go home. Let's add some wash around this area back here and see if these decals peel off. Because if they do, there's just no point carrying on with the rest of it, right? Or wasting our fluid or wasting our time. I did come up this morning, yesterday. 24 hours ago, I put this decal on, and it was peeling up at the bottom. So some extra thin glue, I literally melted a decal into the model. So again, not kind of expecting much here, but we are going to start with Florid Models Dark Dirt Wash. Just going to add a little bit here in the container. Again, I do this every model pretty much. Dark Dirt works great with the gray. Get myself a brush, and again, we do a small area, just see if this thing's going to work or not with these decals. And I'm just going to brush it over. I'm going to do the other side too. Just why not at this point, right? So we'll just do this whole back section below. And there we go. So I'm going to leave it for 20 minutes. And once it's dry, we're just going to wipe it off. As expected, and kind of was worrying about, guess what? Let's wipe off the paper towel, and this decal came right off. So we're done with this. And just to show you, actually, see, there it's all bent, coming off. So guess what? We are done with this. So spent too much money on the kit and too much time to fool around with these crappy decals. So what's going to happen is I'm going to sand off all these decals, and well, actually, first of all, let me look online, find another set, see what color scheme we're going with, and if it's going to be a similar color scheme, I'll carefully remove the decals with some parcel tape. If it's a complete different color scheme, we'll just have to sand it back and restart. So with the power of editing, I'm going to go ahead, eBay, wait a week or two, get some new decals, figure it out, get it decal back up with some nice proper decals, and we'll return to do the weathering. So power of editing, it'll be a split second. In my time, it's going to be a couple of weeks. So here we go. Oh, and just real quick, I don't know if I pointed out, it's not just the decals. I clear coated those as well with satin finish. So I clear coated those last night. So it's not just the decal we're rubbing up against. No, we bedded those in with a clear coat and still having these problems. And this one here just rubs straight off too, the slime line, and this is all peeling off. You can see it's just nothing sticking. It's just a hot mess. My finger, it's all peeling off. So, yep, we're done. So back to game plan and plan B. Been working hard here and getting rid of all the decals. Like these ones, like for example, can just stay because it's going to be the same no matter which I use. But tail here, you see it's all come off all along the side here. Some just rubbed right off. Some needed some like sanding to get off. And tail, to be honest, I just got some lacquer thinner dipped in a paper towel and just wiped it, and it just not only wiped the paint off, but it wiped away all the decal, kind of bedded into. So again, we can start afresh and go back at it. So really just the end part, the tail part, should I say, needs respraying, and the front end here obviously as well. And the scheme going is going to be slightly different. So not too much. I mean, we can get back there pretty quick. The new one, look at the reference pictures, a little bit more grimy, so I might do a little bit more post shading. But this is basically getting back to decals off, getting back to a state where I can restart, again, paint over and go at it again.
1 week later.
Surprise! We are back at it. So the cam decals sucked. The micro scale replacements were fantastic, I think, so far. So hopefully it'll peel off or anything. So I have sealed them in, and just show you where we're at here. So a bit of repainting going on, and here's how we look now. Completely different scheme. Some panels faded. A lot more post shading on this one. And you can see certain areas I've used masking fluid, where I basically ran a little bit along the panel lines, sprayed a little bit of smoke over it, and when it's dry, just peeled off and shows that kind of putty kind of panel line look. I've done a couple of areas elsewhere as well. The front end was painted slightly differently, and just basically per the scheme. So there we go. Looking different and looking actually better than it did before, I think. So a lot more post shading. Now we're going to get back to the weathering. So where were we? Dark dirt wash. It puts them in a little container here. It's going to mix up with my brush and just basically brush it on. This is watered down a little bit. I think when it gets towards the end of the bottle, it gets a little bit thicker and gloopier. But simply just going to run it everywhere like that. And then just going to wait 20-30 minutes, and we'll come back and we'll wipe it off. So it's been a good 30 minutes, and now it's time to remove the wash. Now, the past 30 minutes, I was thinking to myself, you know what? Out of all the stuff in modeling, whether it's removing seam lines or whatever, removing wash is probably one of my least favorite things to do. I don't know why, I just don't like this at all. But anyway, kitchen paper towel, just ripped up in small pieces. Don't rip it too small, because it's kind of counterproductive. It kind of fills up too quickly, and you get through more paper, I think. So it's dry, and I'm just going to lick paper towel because a little moisture just makes it come off a little bit easier, and literally just going to wipe away the wash, and it should leave the panel lines visible, like along here, for example. So I got a sand coat down. I used to use a gloss coat, but I found it just wiped off too easily. It didn't really stay in place very much. So now I've kind of switched to maybe more of a satin coat, so it stays in there. But you kind of see the idea here. Switch to new paper towel. And there we go. So if you compare this wing to the one we haven't done, it makes a huge difference. And I see so many models and people, shows or YouTube, whatever, people don't put any kind of panel line wash on. And I think it's just, I mean, just for me, it just really adds makes it look way more visually appealing. Now, you don't have to use clay wash, you can use oils or whatever you want to use, but I think it really just makes a huge difference. Again, not done and done. So I'm not going to bore you by watching me do the rest of this, but I'm basically just going to do it stages. Get rid of this, apply some more, and just work my way through the whole aircraft. And we'll be back once I'm done. All right, so wash is on, wash is off. And this is how we're looking. And also, as you can see, I've taken a mask off the canopy, and I'm really happy with the look of it. I think it gives that kind of goldy kind of look for sure. And just a couple of spots here to clean up. Now, taking the mask off, the top front one did snap in half again down the middle. It's very kind of weak. So I glued it back together, and just need to go over with a some Vallejo airbrush cleaner, something very mild, and a Q-tip just to wipe off the little bit overspray and paint. But really looking good. So you see here, see all the pound lines dirtied up, and before I do anything, I'm going to remove these. So I drop them or break them again. Oh, and the front windscreen obviously is clear. We didn't tint that. So what we're going to do is add a second stage of weathering, which is neat oils. Now I should take a step back. Did give us a matte coat, obviously before I took the masks off the windows and stuff. So I gave it a matte coat last night. So now we're ready to add the last stage, which is oils. So talked about this many times. Abteilung Starship Filth. Had this probably about 5 years, and you can see it lasts forever. Oil paint, and just put a little bit in the plastic container here. So we need a little dot, and I do find now maybe it's a few years old, but it's a little bit dry. So I just want to add just one drop of enamel thinner, just to soften it up. If you add more, that's how you make like a wash. It's just tons of this stuff, but just enamel thinner. And with my brush, I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit and just makes it a little bit wetter, a little bit easier to use. And what we're going to do is I've started now using one of these little micro brushes. You get them at AliExpress or eBay. You get like 1,000 for a few dollars. And I'm just going to dip it into the paint here, and I'm going to pick a panel line out. So let's do this one right here along the wing. So then I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is add dots across the line. Now I've kind of tweaked this throughout the years. So I found I was probably putting too much paint on. So dots like that. Let's pick another line out too. Let's do this one up here. And with my other brush, which is very worn, one of these from Michael's Premier Amethyst P77CB chisel blender. If you can see that. Anyway, so use it purely just for this, and I'm going to take my power line. I'm just going to basically just blend it in and create that kind of dirtiness along the line, power line, and just rub it in. And if you go too crazy, just one drop of enamel thinner will remove the whole thing. I find it takes about a day to fully cure, and overnight it tends to kind of blend down and die down a little bit. But you can see right away that line I've just done. All right, so now I'm going to do this one along here, same deal. And there we go. And I like this color because it gives that kind of like grimy kind of look. And another thing, you can add dots here and there and just pull them back with airflow and create streaks if you want to. I'm not going to do that right now. But yeah, you go as easy as much as you want here. And this one's going to be pretty beaten up. So I'm pretty much going to pick out almost all these pound lines the same way, work my way around the aircraft, and that's essentially how I do the neat oils. All right, so about 20 minutes, just put some YouTube video in the background while I was doing it, and we're done. And again, it's going to mellow out overnight, but you get an idea of the look here, and these things are kind of grimy, fleet used. And there we go. Nothing too crazy about it, just picking out certain pound lines, and depending on the aircraft, these Navy ones I pretty much pick out almost every pound line and do it. Some other cleaner jets just pick out certain maybe lines on the wing or whatever, just to pick it out, gives it extra dimension. As you can see there, as we look, all the different shading and colors, it's definitely, I think, oh, my hand's kind of, there we go, taking the focus out. It's definitely looking apart. So there's no waste here, because what we're going to do with the rest of this is we're going to make a quick little wash for the gear bay. And normally I'll probably put the gear on first and then do it all in one go. But the fact, timing on this video, I'm going to do it separately. So rule number one is don't ever buy these guys. These MiG or AK washes, all they are is just some of this with a binder, like an enamel mixer added to it. I've had this one a couple of years in a drawer, and guess what? This happens to all of them. It is gone off and it is solid. One big lump. I shake it, it's just like all congealed, and so you get air in these things and they just go off and they're useless. This is probably about the same price as one of these, and I've had this for 5 years. So just make your own washes up. And all I said, like I said, all it is just a little bit of paint. This is leftover from what we did there, which barely used any, and some enamel thinner. And just going to add, move this out of the way. Just going to add the enamel thinner, and with my brush, just going to mix it up, and you want it translucent. So if you basically kind of run it through the plastic here, that's still a little thick. You don't want it thick because you don't want to put on like tons of like, this oil paint. You just want like a nice thin wash, which I think that's kind of consistency I want. And with my brush, I'm going to pick out the areas like the wheel bay. And if you go too heavy with this one, you just enamel thinners and wash it back and dilute it. And you can see, picking out all the detail there, and that is your enamel wash. And pipes back here. This is still a little thick, so I'm going to come back in. I'm going to dilute it in a minute off camera and just knock it back a little bit. But that's maybe back here too in this area, the resting hook. And that's how you basically do an enamel wash. I think that's pretty much all I want to do. Maybe down these guys, where the wing folds. Just add a little bit in there. And again, it's going to evaporate, and it's going to knock it back once it evaporates. Okay, and then that's essentially it. I mean, that's how you do a wash. So yeah, I'm going to take some pure and just knock it back a little bit. It's still a little thick for my liking. And that pretty much wraps up this video. So eventful, right? From the decals, changing the color scheme, but we got there, and liking how it's looking. And if I bring back in the canopy, I think it's really looking the part now with the gold canopy as well. There we go. And maybe that's my thumbnail for the video. So thank you for watching as always. I'll be back next week. I think next week will probably be our last video. Just wrap it up. We'll get all the gear done, gear doors on, and all the pods and stuff, and then we'll do the final reveal. So thank you for watching as always. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, and I shall see you next week.